Making videos?
I was doing the baby shirt.
I hurt my foot. This foot. This foot.
That looks so weird.
Ruby? No. Mantek,
Yeah, let's
guys.
go see if it'll fit the excavator. I am about 6 months away from being the guy that walks into the back of the church with a hernia pillow under his arm. I prefer to be as comfortable as I can be when I'm sitting down. As a matter of fact, there's nothing worse than being uncomfortable when sitting. Makes the entire experience bad. For this reason, I went to the junkyard and I found the biggest, most comfortable chair that I think I can squeeze into my excavator. And I happened to be in town when Cedar got the phone call that Reed hurt his ankle at school and that I needed to go get him. So he stayed in the truck while I pulled out the seat. The entire time I'm working on this seat, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think this thing's gonna fit. But where's the hammer? By the way, my little Lincoln 140 110 volt welder has never welded as good as it does when the sun is shining bright on our solar panels. chair I put in here? It's a little bit big compared to that little chair. I got this out of a suburban.
I was like, that looks like a car chair.
Yeah, I don't want it to hurt my back, but unfortunately, I think it's a touch too big. I may have to revisit this one. I was just trying.
Did you literally just take it out of a car? Like,
Did you?
Like, scrap it?
Read with me. Over there at the junkyard. All you got to do is pretend to hurt your ankle, and then you can go right around with me too. Alright, I'm done.
Do you think?
What? All right, I've got a couple of things going on at the same time right now. I started tearing down the chicken coop yesterday because it's dry enough to get it out of here, but it's a little heavy to move myself. About 6 or 8 weeks ago when it was really cold, I hooked the hose up to fill the water up. Actually, it was the same exact day that I made that insulated water bowl. The insulated water bowl worked great, but I put the hose on the yard hydrant, ran the hose over to the water bowl, filled the water bowl up. I even went out of my way to make sure that the garden hose was laid down in a way where it would drain. But just that little bit of resistance on that yard hydrant prevented it from being able to drain. It's kind of like your thumb over the end of the straw. So what happened is the yard hydrant is frozen below ground. So for the last probably 6 weeks, we haven't even been able to use this. And all that has to happen is for it to warm up. But this little corner right here never gets enough sun. You can see the snow. It's one of the last places where the snow's hanging on. The ground is now soft enough that I feel like if I can just dig down little ways around that yard hydrant, I could put the torch on it and get it to unthaw. About 2 weeks ago, I sold 10 of the baby goats to a friend of mine who has over 70 goats, and he didn't care so much about breed as he did just simply getting them young. They're about 2 months old now. They're ready to be weaned. And what seems to work really well is, again, a chain link fence where mama goat can be on one side, baby goat can be on the other side. They can still smell each other and lick each other through the fence, but they can't nurse. I'm gonna separate the babies and the mamas on and off for the next few days and get the babies weaned so we can get rid of the 10 baby goats. As much as we would love to keep all of the goats around here, number one, that's a whole lot of mouths to feed when hay is gonna be very, very expensive this fall. But number two, it's too many. We only need about 6 or 8 really good quality goats. So I'm gonna put some sweet feed inside the new little goat barn. I'm gonna try and get all of them to go in there. I'm gonna close that door and one by one separate them out. When it comes to the weaning process with any animals, it's a bit messy, but I must say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And in my opinion, along with many others, it is simply best to separate the mothers from the kids of the year when the kids are old enough and eating hay, allowing them to still be close by, and just getting it over with.
Oh, there she goes. Hallelujah. The last thing that I'm going to do is drag the pieces of the chicken coop away. Then I'm going to get out of here, get out of this area. I'm making this worse by simply being in here. They're starting to calm down a little bit. I'm going to watch them all afternoon and see how they do. And over the next 4 or 5 days, get all the babies weaned.
The difference between this year's baby goats and last year's baby goats is last year we weren't getting rid of any of the goats, so we didn't have to wean them. We now have 3 generations of goats here at our place, and because we didn't wean last year's babies, they literally nursed on their moms right up until both the mom and the baby of last year had babies of this year. Let me try that one more time. Grandma and mom were both pregnant at the same time, so grandma was nursing mom, who is now 2 years old, right up until they both had their babies.
The goats have been separated for about 30 minutes and nobody's making a noise. Mamas are eating over there. I'm not gonna go out there, I'm gonna leave them alone. We just keep watching them through the day and see what happens. The Suburban seat was just too big, and I kind of knew that, so I ran into town and swapped it for a Honda Accord seat, which will fit much better. I need to make some slight modifications to it, and hopefully it slaps right in.
So the baby goats are now 2 months old, and this is the perfect time to wean them, and truthfully, the baby goats will be fine. Living up close and personal with your animals, as I said, at times can be messy, but it is the way we choose to live, and we love it this way. It's officially time to start on that front porch and get that broke down so I can continue the siding that's behind that porch. And then I'm going to rebuild that porch for the final time. But yesterday, our tankless water heater that we've been using for the last few years started leaking. And so when I called A.O. Smith over the phone to see if it was still under warranty, they were good to warranty it, but I had to drive about 2 hours to get it. And the problem was it was getting late enough in the day that I really didn't want to drive down, but I really didn't want a cold shower either. So I ended up having to drive all the way down to Salt Lake. And to make a long story short, I had to go to 2 separate wholesale houses, and one of the employees there, his name was Roman at Great Western Supply in Ogden. He went above and beyond to make sure that I could not only get that tankless water heater, but this morning my phone rang, and he doesn't know me from anybody, but my phone rang this morning and he was just checking on me to make sure that I not only got the water heater last night, but that I was able to get home. I feel like a drive through rush hour traffic might be physically more demanding than a hard day's work. I'm a little sore. I'm a little stiff today. I'm not going to be moving as fast. So today I'm going to do the kind of work where my brain doesn't have to do as much as my body, and I'm just going to try and get the front porch broke down by the end of the day. I'm hopeful for the future when I interact with young people that work hard to do the right thing when it's not the easiest thing to do. And that's what Roman did the other day. By the time I left the ranch and got to pavement, I knew it was going to be a close call driving all the way down, initially to Ogden to pick up a tankless water heater. And either way, I had to go get it. So I took off in the old Dodge Dually and I made it to Ogden with about 30 minutes to spare. And that's when Roman discovered that the water heater he thought was there was not there. So when Roman told me he didn't have the water heater that 3 hours earlier he told me he had, and after driving 2 hours to get the water heater, I was not happy. I even barked at him a little bit and quickly realized that wasn't going to fix anything. We discussed what our options were, and because it was so close to closing time, and the nearest water heater was about 30 minutes away, Roman got the warranty paperwork figured out and talked the other shop into leaving the water heater outside where I could find it. All the way home, I thought about that brief interaction that I had with this nice young fellow, and I was optimistic and hopeful because of this. Because it seems to me that there are still people in the world that care when they have every option not to. There are still people in the world that care about their job, they care about their customer, and they do what they have to do to take care of the customer. There may not be anything more valuable to me as a consumer than just this thing. The older I get, the more I look for interactions like I had with Roman. It's part of the reason why I shop at my local hardware store where people know me by name. And they take care of their customers well. It isn't so much about what products are being sold at these stores as much as it's about how I feel when I get there and how I feel when I leave. I am positive that there are many, many more people out there just like Roman that are more than aware of what their job is and they do their best to perform that job. I would argue that in spite of what I might be hearing from the outside world, almost all of my interactions that I've had with people over the last couple of years have been incredibly positive regardless of the circumstances. It's always nice to see somebody working extra hard to get a job done. And I will always take time to give credit where credit is due.
The wasps don't seem to quite have their wings yet, and to me this is a perfect opportunity to kill off as many as I can. At some point before I stain, I am going to get in here with some stainable polyurethane caulking, and any spot that even looks like a place where a wasp or those box elder bugs could get, I'm going to seal it up.
So it has now been 3 days since I separated the baby goats from the mama goats, and the baby goats are doing just fine. But the mama goats, they're a little sore right now. A few more days and they should be good to go. On our next video, I will continue the work on the front porch here, as well as many other things around the property. But the main focus will be to get this front porch broke down, the siding removed, front porch reinstalled, then the siding reinstalled. Thank you again to all the Romans out there. We will see you in a few days.
Okay, here's where we're at with the excavator. Number one, my new chair is awesome. The Honda Accord seat fit perfectly. Number two, we discovered, and I say we because I did not do this alone, discovered that the excavator was never plumbed properly with the hydraulics for the thumb controls to work. So I'm hoping to get this done in the next few days, but other than that, it's sitting waiting to go to work, but the thumb doesn't work at the moment, so I need to get that fixed. When I first bought the excavator, I got a message on Instagram about the Kobelco from a guy named Martin. And it was obvious that Martin worked for Kobelco or worked closely with Kobelco because he had information that I knew was dealer information. Anyway, Martin helped me answer a lot of really good questions about this excavator, especially when we were figuring out just in fact what excavator it was. Was it an SK60? Was it an SK70? The end result is my friend Martin has been helping me work through the problems over the internet. So what I did discover is one of the low pressure sensors was damaged when the hydraulic ram was damaged. So I had to replace that. Martin is the one that helped me diagnose that. Martin is the one that showed me on the ECM where I could read the code and he could tell me what the code meant. He has just helped me a ton. Finally, the other day I sent him a message and I said, hey, let's get on the phone. As I was sitting in Idaho here at my place doing my thing, Martin was sitting in the country of Estonia. He's also building his own place. I think that's where we found common interest and maybe he started watching videos. But I have to tell you that I got on the phone with this guy, Martin, sitting in Estonia while I'm sitting here in Idaho, and everything about it was so bizarre, but at the same time so beautiful, I suppose. Martin helped me because he knew I needed help. He wasn't looking for anything in exchange. The idea that the internet has made my world so much bigger than it otherwise would be is a beautiful thing. And I just wanted to offer my gratitude to Martin and to the many others like Martin that have helped us along the way with a little bit of information, whatever it happened to be. We are grateful for you guys, and the truth is, without you, I'm up here talking to a camera. Martin, thanks again, buddy.